saying that loud. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's episode. Carry on my wayward son. There'll be peace when you are done. Welcome to 2024. Get ready for World War IV. It's not the best song I've ever sang, but ladies and gentlemen, welcome. It's not even 2024 yet, but that's the thing. I can just make up whatever. They attacked, you know? Reality is whatever you make it on a podcast, all right? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to 7 Minutes in Heaven. 7 minutes in heaven, it's not 7 in heaven, you're inside of me. Listen. Sometimes a train gets moving down the track and you can't stop it, okay? Because when I made the name 7 Minutes in Heaven, did I think there would be so many sexual innuendos? Secretly, probably did. But you know what I didn't expect? To be introduced on stage all the time. And here comes this next comedian, Evan Lopez. He has a funny podcast called 7 Minutes with Evan. God damn it, that's not my podcast. Here comes Evan, he has a funny podcast. Check it out. 7 Minutes in Heaven. Well, now it just sounds like I come fast. All right? It's not a cool podcast. It's not a cool thing I want to look at on stage. But ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Okay? Merry Christmas. All right? This is going to come out right before New Year's. This is the New Year's special. It's always, listen, I'm a reflective man in my life. Okay, I like to reflect and kind of look at life and just be like, you know, what can I get better on? What did I enjoy? I'm very reflective, all right? I'm ceremonial. I like looking at milestones. I like really wafting in the experience of my own life because it's all I got. All I have is my own meandering experience, and I can just reflect on that. And I think that's the secret to happiness. Comparison is the thief of joy. Then focusing on yourself and your own meandering experience must be, what's the giver of joy? I don't know what the opposite of a thief is. A hero? I don't know. It depends how you look at it. Anyway, we're all thieves in some way, okay? Just like Kanye used to say, if you can't be used or used, then you're useless. Bars, all right? 2024, the holidays. Before we get into 2024 and our moving forward and everything, 2023, the holidays, okay? We're all over the place right now, all right? The holidays are weird, okay? At least for me. I've never, since I was a wee lad, the holidays are weird, you know? I loved Christmas growing up. I loved getting presents. We had this tradition. We still rock it to this day where the elves come visit on Christmas Eve and they leave you pajamas or something like that. We brought that tradition into my home. Okay. I'm going to do that with my little chitlins. And it's a great thing. But I always have little sad boy vibes around birthdays and holidays. I don't know what it is. Like and I try not to. And because I try not to, it ends up happening more. This was a weird year, I'll be honest with y'all. Shout out to Santa's Ranch in New Braunfels because my wife and I were just in a weird vibe going into the holidays. The day after we got a Christmas tree, this is the first time we've tried to really celebrate Christmas and be like, let's decorate in the house. Our house is adorable with little knickknacks, little, you know, given the gift of glee and cheer and merry holidays, whatever, you know. We were super stoked to have Christmas this year. We got a tree, which is crazy for us. And we get the tree, and the next morning, not even 24 hours, our dog dies in a very traumatic fashion. And our dog was such a big part of our life. Okay. I make jokes about it to keep from crying. Okay. I've cried more and eaten more sugar in the past few weeks than I have in the last 10 years. Okay. Combined. Okay. That's just how crazy it was. It is. I mean, outside of other deaths and like family deaths, losing a dog, that you feel responsible. That's the weird thing, is that you're responsible for that dog 100%. It can't tell you that, hey, I'm having a little trouble breathing. I think maybe I should go get this. And no, the dog's just going on with its life. So you feel 100% responsible. So it was very traumatic to lose the, Beowulf like that and everything. So going into the Christmas, we were just not about it. We were just like, you know what? Fuck this shit. Let's eat our fillings. We were just buying cake. We just go to HEB Plus. Shout out. I'm bougie. I only shop at HEB. We were just buying cake and just eating cake, trying to eat our feelings. Okay. And we just weren't in a holiday spirit. Because listen, you can call me a weird dog person. I'll never be someone who calls their dog their kid. Shout out. I had friends who were like, oh, I'm sorry. We know it's just like a child. I'm like, listen, even though I'm grieving, it's not just like a child. I'm not one of those people. Okay. But we just, it's little things, like you come home and you're expecting that bark. You're expecting that ding, ding, ding when they're running to the door because you're there. It's the small little things like that. Every time the doorbell rang, I'd be waiting for it. And then it's just like, oh, it's kind of sad. Every time I go take the trash out, you go to walk around the corner, and I always expect my dog just be sitting there waiting for me, or she would love to go put the trash out in the front yard with me. And it's just those little small things. And you just have those little moments constantly where you're just going, So sad boy vibes going into Christmas. And there was one saving grace. Obviously, time. Time is the thing that heals all wounds. We went to this probably like 4 or 5 days before Christmas. We went to Santa's Ranch in New Braunfels because we were trying to run like a chainsaw our Christmas spirit, our holiday cheer. We were going to go do that bullshit, not bullshit, but it was just so sold out and everything. There's no parking. Zilker Park has a trail of lights. And during the pandy, it was, you had to just drive through. So you could just drive through the experience, but it's all these lights and everything like that. We were going to go do that. But we couldn't figure out the parking. There was like, oh, you got to take a tram to go to the park, and that's $10, and then parking's $15. And then I'm like, I'm not going to sit in a tram to go to Zilker Park, just walk around some Christmas lights. What else is going on? Found this place called Santa's Ranch. All right. If you're in New Braunfels, you got to check out Santa's Ranch. I even say it's worth the drive from Austin. Okay. It's like a mile-long stretch of this land that they converted into a drive-through experience of all these Christmas lights, Christmas stories. It's like, it's all, they go through the entire, like, I don't want to spoil it. I mean, everybody knows Jesus dies, right? Wouldn't it be crazy if someone was like, wait, what? They go through the entire existence of the world to where even the entire Bible, everything that happens, all the big moments shout out. But it starts off with the universe, like all the planets forming. So you go through this space area, and then you go through, Earth forming, and then you go through the dinosaurs, and then you go through the first, evolution kind of thing happening. And then it's like Old Testament, where, dude, God was like kind of an alcoholic during the Old Testament. He was a little intense. Okay. He was like kind of like, he drank a little bit, he just kind of would rough you up a little bit. You're like, I don't like it when dad drinks. He was like a little more strict and like aggressive for no reason. Remember when, was it God that turned into, he sent a bear to like kill these kids? Sent a bear to kill, let's see. Why would God send a bear to maul children? So this pastor wrote this. Kings 2, 23, 24. From there, Elisha went up to Bethel. As he was walking up the path, some small boys came out of the city and harassed him, chanting, "Go up, Baldy, go up, Baldy." He turned around, looked at them, and cursed them in the name of the Lord. Then 2 female bears came out of the woods and mauled 42 of the children. What the hell? Is the Book of Kings, is that Old Testament? I think that's Old Testament. Yeah. in the Old Testament. This is before they kind of, were like, let's punch this up a little bit. But the thing is I think God was just down for the cause. Okay. Like God was a little bit more of a gang back then, if you will, because he saw that and the guy said, on God, fuck you. That's what the dude said, Elijah. And God was like, word, I'm ready to die for this shit. And then they were like, what? And he said, 2 bears, drop them in the forest. Didn't even maul the kids, because you're telling me all 42 of these kids said Baldy? Called him Baldy. Also, where's the lesson about thicker skin? That, these kids called him Baldy. Huh? Your answer for that was like, maul them. 100%. Like God had to send a message to just respect your elders. Maybe God was bald, and maybe that's why he killed Jesus. He was like, nah, I don't care if he's my son. That dude has some luscious locks. String them up. Stupid. Anyway. But that's just wild that he told these 2 female bears, maul 42 of them. They're like, hey, should we just take out the ringleaders? No. All right, should we just take out the ringleaders, and the other 3 kids like kind of were laughing at it? No. This is the bears talking to God. So you want us to also kill the kids that were just like kind of hanging out in the back? Yeah. You want me to kill every little kid that was just there, even the ones that were just playing soccer? Especially the ones playing soccer. Also, 2 bears, female bears, they're just going to be able to, like, none of the kids were able to get away. How good were these bears that they were just like, were they Kung Fu Panda bears? Anyway, we're getting off topic. I would have loved if some of these stories were told at Santa's ranch. Okay. That would have been pretty sick. You start getting some of the kind of, I wouldn't say it's fan fiction, but it's kind of almost like the deleted scenes that they don't really talk about at Bible school. Those were the stories that tell people at youth group that, that God just sent a couple bears to kill these children who didn't listen. God up there with his alopecia. He was like, you know what? Fuck this shit. You think it's okay to call someone Baldy? Also, it said in the Bible, it was like, it mentioned don't eat shellfish more than being gay. Like God was just like, dude, being gay, it's pretty bad, whatever. But don't you ever even fucking think about eating shrimp cocktail, okay? Because that is so gay, all right? You gonna dip these little shrimps in a little red sauce? Too gay, all right? You want to give your buddy a hand job every now and then? Don't touch the cocktails, all right? What is happening? But yeah, all that to be said, we got in the Christmas spirit because it goes through all the Bible and, stuff, and that's cool. That's fine. I do like the story. I'm not knocking the Bible. I would love to see a 90-minute full feature film on just the Book of Kings, where these bears just mauled kids. I mean, the Revenant, remember that movie with Leonardo DiCaprio? A bear just mauled one person and that won an Oscar. But you're telling me we don't have 2 bears mauling 42 children? You don't think that's going to win something? It'd be so sick. That movie that just came out, The Sounds of Freedom, replace it with just these 2 bears mauling 42 children and be like, it's a metaphor. And then people would be like, sick, I'm with it. If someone would like to animate that, go for it. You can just have that. It's not even my story. It's the Bible, okay? It's the oldest book of all time. The Bible is the best-selling book of all time by far, like every year. People are still buying them. You can just go to a hotel and take them for free. It's that or the Book of Mormon. And whichever fairy tale you want, like it's right there for you. Anyway, Santa's Ranch in New Braunfels, phenomenal. Okay. It's a great little spot. It was exciting. They had a bunch of Santa stuff also. So it's not just like shoving all the Bible down your throat. they switch it into Santa, and you get it's just there's some Star Wars stuff. And they have great music playing the entire time. You turn your headlights off. Go at night, obviously. It'd be a waste of time to drive through the day. You just have to really use your imagination, or be a blind person, and I don't think it would be any difference. Anyway, I'm on fire right now. It's a great time, okay? It got us, all that to be said, it got us back in the Christmas spirit, okay? Christmas was a little sad in some ways, but we made a big point to just try to enjoy the holidays, okay? My goal was always with December. It's funny because all year I kept having this idea of being like, I want to get all my business and everything with work done so I can kind of take Christmas off and just hang out at home and do everything I want to do. And then I got all that done. And when Christmas came around, I was like, oh, I got way too much hands on my time. Because that's something, if you're dealing with some shit, get busy, okay? But lucky also, I got to be honest with y'all, this was one of the best Decembers for stand-up for me. Usually December kind of slows down a lot, but I was, doing shows all week the last few weeks. Felt great. I feel like I'm at a crossroads with stand-up where I need to push on to the next level. I'm really feeling it. I'm feeling kind of like the baby bird that is getting a little too big for the nest, and I need to elevate, and what's holding me back is my own material, my own presentation of myself on stage. And 2024, shout out to Gary V, is going to be all about grinding. Okay. No, I just realized I have to move to the next level. And all that really means is I have to not be complacent. I have to commit more to writing. I have to commit more to doing all the painful shit that's not fun with stand-up. And what a lot of that is for me is listening to sets, because I'll tell you this much. It may seem on the outside like I like myself. I don't know, maybe it does, but I always get people being like, oh, blah, blah, but like I just come across as a douchebag on the surface. There is nothing I hate more than looking at myself and listening to myself, okay? I'll start listening to a stand-up set and I'm just like, oh, woof, this guy is terrible. And I start like just being like, oh, you're so terrible at this. So then what I have to do is I'll avoid it. And I can't do that anymore, because if you can objectively listen to your sets and hear back and look at it as a scientist, you'll get better. You'll pick up on the bad habits, things you see, things you don't see. If you just, try to remember what happened during that set. But yeah, it's something that I'm going to have to do. But shout out to all the bookers. I don't think they listen to this shit. Why would they? Shout out to everybody who made comedy better this year. Shout out to everybody who made comedy worse too. Okay. We need everything. We need everything out there in that world. Okay. But I'll tell you this much. Kind of going back to the holidays and realizing I've been doing a detox these last couple days. I know, touched on it a little bit in the last episode about cutting out sugar. Eating way too much sugar. I've been in the phase now. After Christmas, I was like, I'm done with sugar. Okay. I've cut it out, been cranky and detoxing these past couple days. It's nothing worse than when you've been in a 3-week sugar bender, a fever dream of sugar intake. Okay. I'm talking 4 ounces of sugary coffee creamer in my coffee. I'm talking about eating cookie dough during the day. I'm talking about eating cake at night. I'm talking about getting ice cream and eating half of it. Okay. Your boy's putting down more sugar grams than protein during the day. Okay. Just destroying myself. Okay. And I'll tell you this much. You start it feels good for a little bit. It's just like a drug. That's what's crazy. It's just like a drug. You start feeling a little bit better because you're giving yourself this dopamine hit. But then it's almost like being hungover, like a sugar hangover. You don't feel good. And you're like, God, this feels terrible right now. And then what you got to do? You got to detox. And then you're also eating the sugar just to try to get back to a base level. Okay. And then you realize, oh, fuck, I'm completely addicted to this on a molecular level. Okay. Systemically addicted on a molecular level. Okay. So cold turkey after Christmas, what has it been, 3 days now? No sugar. Okay. And I feel great. All right. I was having weird anxiety dreams where I'd wake up in a panic and think like someone was trying to break in or something. And then I would just be like, and I'd be like, okay, chill out. And I think those were driven by sugar, which is weird. But yeah, I cut sugar out and that went away completely. I'll be honest with you, getting cranky. Those first couple days, you get cranky. All right. You getting the shakes, getting the sweats, not really getting the sweats. But yeah, let's see. What else do we want to talk about? I've been fishing a lot. Fishing is going great. Okay. We've been getting into, fly fishing. Shout out to Chad Dixon, hilarious comedian. Shout out to Dean Stanfield, hilarious comedian. We've been out there hitting the fly fishing and had a successful trip the other day. We went out there between the three of us, got 6 fish, I think it was, cooked them up, delicious. Nothing better than just catching fish that pop, pop, pop. When the fish is hitting on your line, God, that feels great. You reel it in, you get it to shore, you're looking at it. I love me some rainbow trout, all right? You get some rainbow trout, it just makes you feel good, all right? Put a little salt, a little bit of pepper, a little bit of butter. You get in there, that's me putting pepper and salt and butter in it, a little bit of garlic, some lemon, and you just grill that bad boy up. Nothing better when you eat something you caught, all right? Going to go out again this weekend. Okay. I'm all about moving forward. I'm all about simple pleasures and reward systems. Okay. I'll be honest with you. I think it is a generational thing. And I think the generation of millennials, I think some millennials have a harder time with social media and the addiction of social media and screens and everything. I feel like it's harder than maybe the generation coming up now that was actually born with it. Because we always look at it as a plus side that, hey, we grew up, at least part of my life was outside doing things. I didn't have that, but I also wasn't born with an adaptation for it in the sense of didn't have it when I was a little kid. So it's almost like when they introduce sugar water to the rats or cocaine water to the rats, they're like, holy shit, what is this? I haven't had this my whole life. This is amazing. You have perspective on how much better it is and how different it is than just being fucking analog before social media. And I think that's something that I have to regulate and that I'm going to regulate more in 2024. Yeah, who knows? Maybe these kids are more fucked up because they are born with screens and iPads. It's always the weirdest thing when you go to a restaurant and you just see a kid there on an iPad, just like not learning how to adapt to being in a restaurant. It's like, what do you think is going to happen when that kid gets earlier or older and you try to take him to a restaurant? Do you think he's going to be like, yeah, I don't want this amazing wizard device that is better than any conversation we could ever have? I don't care who's at the table, okay? You could have Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Kevin Hart at a table. Never going to be as good as what's available on Netflix in 4K. It just won't be, okay? Especially if you're a little kid and you're watching, I don't know what the kids watch, Paw Patrol. Kevin Hart is never going to compare to Paw Patrol. I don't care. I don't care who you are. It's always going to be second place. What else do we got? Do I have any regrets for 2024 or 2023, the past year? I don't really have regrets. I try to think about that a lot with life. If things would be different, I don't know if it would help if things were different. I'm pretty dedicated to what I'm trying to do. If I could change anything about the way I am, it would be not being a people pleaser as much would probably be the number one thing that I don't like. Having it built in that I will put people before me. But that's also what makes me a weirdo and a comedian, I think, is the feeling of trying to figure out how to please an audience. It is such a weird thing. We were talking about the other night at a show how comedians, like everybody, if you're doing comedy and you're funny, you got something going on. Like you don't get into this because you're completely well adjusted. There's something. It's very, very rare that there's nothing going on with you, that you don't have some kind of need for this kind of expression. I don't know. It's also why I feel most comfortable around comedians, because everybody is from different walks of life, but there's a universal acceptance that everybody's kind of messed up, that it's okay if you're different. It's okay if you have a weird thing, we're kumbaya in that sense. And I'll be honest with you, the ones who don't have anything in their life, they're not that funny. Okay. They're not that funny. All right. You got to mess your kids up a little bit. Okay. You gotta give them a little edge. What do you do? It's a conundrum. All right. I think about that with America in general, and like what's happening in other countries and everything like that. 2024 is a weird year because it's like, is there going to be a World War IV or World War III? How many world wars have we had? I mean, I just don't know. Maybe the world is more fragmented. I don't know where we go. I don't know whose team, how you would break the teams up, but it's just so weird when you look at the state of the world and you look at how life is in America. And you look how life is in other countries, you look at the Middle East, you look at things that are happening and you're just like, holy shit. I look at certain things, I see things and I'm like, God, so fucking lucky to be here in America. So lucky. And then there's some kids who are in America where they're like, this is the most disgusting place and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, do you know what the world is? Because your waiter doesn't know right off the gate that your pronouns are a unicorn. Like how, like what are you talking about? This is the greatest country in the world. The fact that you can have such a silly identity to be like, I'm a unicorn. Okay. To just be like, you need to, like something ridiculous. Two-spirit. We get crazy out there. Okay. Sometimes it feels like everybody just forgets that we're animals at the end of the day, that we were once in the food chain. All right. Who knows? Maybe we'll go back to being in the food chain. It's definitely a possibility, that we're just all out there rocking it in the jungle one day. We're just wherever we are. I don't even know. In the apocalypse, dude, I talk about the apocalypse way too much. But it's a possibility. It's a possibility that things just get tweaked a little bit. We lose the supply chain. It's chaos. We end up dividing and, I think it's if politicians just push everybody too far divided and then it snaps. Like you try to keep everything apart and separated and keep division. And then all of a sudden it just snaps. Now it's chaos. All right. Because I don't think there's this plan. I don't think it is this crazy the whole conspiracy when it comes to like, oh, the Illuminati and all these things, I don't think they have a strong stranglehold on America. And I could be ignorant. I feel like it's a straw man. It's like the person in The Wizard of Oz, like behind the curtain, that they're there, but it's just like, they're not really much. And I feel like that you could blow them over. Okay. Once this all gets exposed and we're not playing these games anymore, with division and how ridiculous politics are and these deals that are made and health insurance and pharmaceutical companies and all the corruption and manipulation that goes on, once that falls out, I don't think they're going to be able to control it forever. I really do think things could swing in the other way. But I also think that these people who are creating all this like chaos and division, it's very short-sighted because it's almost like you're taking the oil out of the earth for your profit, but you're not looking at the long-term damage of doing that. And I'm not trying to be like global warming. I'm just saying what you're doing is so short-sighted long-term. If you're trying to divide all of these people for your own gain for this next election cycle, you're not looking what's going to happen in 8 to 12 years, something down the road. And I think that's where the problem is. I always think about it because in my hometown, shout out to Palmdale, California, Quartz Hill, shout out the Antelope Valley. All right. I love you till the day I die. But you're having some trouble. Okay. The crime levels, what's happening there, it's not great. All right. But it was this thing where my hometown, when I was born, my parents were like, let's raise kids here. It was kind of a place that you could commute to LA or Burbank if you worked down there. Okay. It was a nice place, quiet place, kind of quiet to raise a family. All right. That's why my parents moved there. They didn't come from a lot of money. So it was a place where they could do that, to try to raise a family. As time goes on living there, they decide to build a prison in the Antelope Valley, out there in Lancaster, close to Avenue I. Okay, if you know the geographic whole situation going on there. When they did that, the city gets money. The Antelope Valley gets money. People running the politics there are getting money by having these federal programs in their city. Sweet. They're getting kickbacks. The people who are just in office for a couple of years, they're getting paid because guess what? You get all this money. No one's auditing these city councils and what's happening there. You have this prison. Oh, okay, cool. Now there's some more jobs brought, but now we kind of have a criminal element to the Antelope Valley. Okay, well, whatever. I guess we're just keeping prisoners there. Let's create a program for some of the housing around the prison where the families of the prisoners can move there. Okay, they start moving in a lot of families that were families of inmates and stuff like that, criminals. And there was some crazy statistic that the family connected the inmates doing more crime and everything, that there's usually a relation and connection to being more criminally active if you have family and part of the culture of crime. I don't know how to say that nicely. So then crime starts going up, but they created this program that you're not going to start seeing the effects of immediately, but you're going to get the kickbacks for having this kind of program there. And then they were like, and this is all happening over a few year time jumps every single time. And then they go, let's start doing Section 8 housing because we're not getting as much tourism. We have all these soccer fields and all this stuff that we invested in to try to bring people in and have programs and stuff like that. We worked hard on Marie Kerr Park, the amphitheater. We're going to try to do this. We're going to revamp Lancaster Boulevard, do all this stuff. But we're not making as much as we need because people don't want to really come here because we have these couple elements and crime's going up, but that's just a small thing right now. But wait, if we start doing Section 8 housing and we start creating all these different programs, we can raise our bottom dollar and it will kind of average it out by having these other things here. And then they brought in, crime started going up even more. They started having all these different programs to bring up their bottom dollar. So they're still getting paid and making more money while ruining the community by just having more crime, the prison, Section 8 housing, all this stuff that's supposed to be good, but it just gets taken advantage of. Okay. And I'm all about help people out, let people get back on their feet, whatever it is. But there's a certain element that is a harsh reality of these situations. And through that, they created, these programs and stuff like that, that really was just hurting the Inland Valley. And then crime skyrockets, all these businesses around and everything. And I hear this from people who work there. So it's not like I'm just speculating and being like, oh, this is what's doing this and doing that. It's always related to the laws, because all these different places were forced to start accepting EBT and all these other programs and everything like that were getting manipulated and taken advantage of. And then they start changing the smash and grab laws. And so now people do not want to go to CVS. People do not want to go to Walmart. They don't want to go to any of these stores, Vons. Shout out to Vons, L. And what's happening now is people don't want to go outside. They don't want to go to restaurants. They don't want to do this stuff because now people are getting shot all the time. People are constantly robbing the stores. It's a bad environment now. And it sucks because, I went home not too long ago to visit my parents, and just driving around and kind of seeing things, I was like, this sucks that over a 10 to 15 year, maybe 20 year period of all these things happening, they completely ruined a city and an entire area, but they made money by creating all these programs that they're not facing the consequences for, because none of them live there. They all move out and live in fancy areas, but create laws for a place that they don't live, which is crazy. Okay. It's just insidious and it's gross. And I think it's really short-sighted. And I think that's what's fucked up. Do I know what the solution is? I think you got to vote. I think you got to take off the rose colored goggles. Is that what they call it? Is that what the kids are calling it? And vote and get involved in local politics, and think further on down the road. This is just what you do when you're in your 30s. You start saying all the shit that adults every generation just start saying. That's where I'm at, ladies and gentlemen. Was it the funniest episode? No, but they're not all going to be silly whack bonk episodes, okay? I'm not going to be on wackadoodle time every single episode. Listen, your boy's dealing with grief, end of the year, sugar fasting, dead dog. There's a lot going on right now, okay? But listen, you know what doesn't change? My love for you guys, okay? Listen, it may not seem like much, but every time someone reaches out about the podcast, that they liked an episode, that they got something from an episode, they enjoyed it, they give me feedback, whatever it is, I feel so good. And it makes me feel, I don't know, it's just a dope feeling. And it's also cool to do that. We're all in this together, okay? We're all in this together. I'm excited for 2024. I don't have goals for 2024. I have goals, but it's more of, I've realized that goals without plans is so corny, because I'm realizing this is like a corny quote. Goals without plans are just dreams. And I'm getting more focused on day-to-day actions, where it's every day I'm going to do these things because the kind of person I want to be, and to get that certain kind of success, I have to do these actions every day. So I don't have to figure out some magic bullet or some crazy trick. I just have to do these kind of incremental actions every day to become a better person and to work harder. And over time, that will compound, Anyway, I love you guys. Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening over the years. Okay. Podcast always going through changes. Diego's dead. Sorry, Diego. No, the podcast always going through changes. Love Diego. I'm sure we're going to do more episodes, have guests, but sometimes I just like to get on here like Garth Brooks and just connect to y'all. I like breaking down the walls and just having a conversation. All right. I really like that. If you have never seen that video about Garth Brooks joining Facebook, just YouTube Garth Brooks joins Facebook video. It's the greatest video of all time. Okay. And listen, Garth Brooks, one of the greatest country singers of all time. Okay. Friends in Low Places, Rodeo, The Dance, top tier songs. Okay. I put on as a joke with my wife the other day, a Garth Brooks concert that he put on Amazon Prime. It was called like, the something bar, the dive bar, show or something like that. Put it on as a joke, ended up watching almost the entire thing. It was like 2 hours. Okay. Amazing performer. I love Garth Brooks songs, but the dude is a psychopath. Okay. And this is nothing new, not groundbreaking news, but Garth Brooks is so unhuman. It is insane to see him try to connect, just be a regular person. All right. He's doing this at his concerts, doing little heart signs, pointing people out. Hey, Dave. You know, it's crazy. He's on wackadoodle time all the time. But he's one of the greatest performing artists, touring in football stadiums and shit. There's no reason for him to connect and be a regular human. Listen, if I'm just doing sold out stadium concerts all the time and I sing Rodeo, dude, I'm not acting human. But the thing is I would be like, oh, I'm not like these peasants. I'm an alien compared to them, and I'm not going to accept that. Hey, I'm just one of y'all. Garth Brooks doesn't go to Home Depot. Okay. He buys a Home Depot and they drag it to his place. And then he picks out one tool and then they drag it back. He's like, that's all I needed. I just need a wrench. Get it the fuck out of here. All right. And that's Garth Brooks. All right. But ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, unicorns, whatever you are, I wish you guys a great 2024. And you know what? Up until that, enjoy your 2023. Because remember, this last week before the new year, it's a weird week. It's a wackadoodle week. All right. And treat it as that. Do a little self-healing, a little self-nurturing, self-love. Don't be so mean to yourself. And remember, no matter what, I still love you.